Hey guys, Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around we had Deep Breath. What was that one about?
Well, this is the first full episode with Peter Capaldi. Like Matt Smith, but more like David Tennant, completely loses his mind during the regeneration. He and Clara end up in Victorian London. There's a dinosaur in the Thames. And I think the other plot was people were spontaneously combusting, and they couldn't figure all this out. I thought maybe it was, something about Jack the Ripper or something like that. But it was, and I originally also said it might be the Great Intelligence again, but it turned out to be the sister ship to the Madame Pompadour that David Tennant encountered in, Girl in the Fireplace.
Yep.
And they were essentially taking people for their body parts to help fix their machine. And there was some kind of twist ending, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, the main thing was the only way to stop them was for the main robot guy to die. And the question is, did he jump out and kill himself, or did the Doctor push him out? That's sort of the question we're landing on, is who is the Doctor now? So he seems to be very different from what we've previously had. So, and then at the end, the robot man made it to heaven, where he met Missy.
And we don't know who Missy is.
Nope.
Did you say something about where we had seen her before?
I don't think so. No, because there's also the question of, because during the episode, Clara saw an advertisement in the paper thinking that it was the Doctor reaching out to her. But then when she got there, the Doctor thought that she put that ad there. So they were wondering, okay, well, who put the ad there to bring us here? They thought it was the Robot Man. It wasn't any of them. So there's that question on top of one of the earlier questions when Clara was first introduced, because she got the number for internet help from a woman in a shop, but that number took her to the TARDIS. So that's sort of lingering questions. Whether or not they have anything to do with Missy, that's unknown at this time. Yeah, and we don't know anything about Missy. Don't look up anything about Missy, because you may be spoiled on where we're going with her. Okay. So, anyway. But yeah, that is pretty much where we left off. Anything else going into this?
Back from vacation. Had a great time. We went down to New Orleans and spent a couple of days there. Had some good food. Went around to some great places. World War II Museum is there. The Audubon Aquarium is there. And just basically did a tour of the city. Then went down to Orange Beach, Alabama. Got to watch the Gulf Coast waters, just, relaxing down there. Although we were right on the outskirts of Tropical Storm Arthur, so there was a bit of rain while we were there.
Oh, yeah.
But just a lot of fun, relaxed. And finally back here, ready to go.
Yeah. I know there technically hasn't been a break in any of the Doctor Who videos. And last week we did technically say, it's like, oh yeah, we're back from vacation. It's like, yeah, we recorded that like over 2 weeks ago now. So
just before we went on vacation.
Yeah, so we are now finally actually back to recording Doctor Who. So, yeah, I guess that is pretty much that. So we might as well just jump right into this episode of Doctor Who.
See an interesting title. Into the Dalek?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Clara, the first time we saw Clara, she wasn't Clara. She was Oswin, but she was inside a Dalek.
Yeah.
So maybe, does this have anything to do with that? You don't have to tell me. I guess I'll find out.
Yeah. We'll find out. So, let's get going.
You probably feel a bit sick. Please, don't be.
Where's my brother? I demand you take me back to my command ship, the Aristotle, which is currently located...
No. Hey, not like that.
You will take me back to my command ship, which is currently positioned...
No, come on. Not like that. Not like that. Get it right.
Will you take me back to my ship? Please?
The Aristotle's the big fella. parked in the asteroid belt, yeah?
It's shielded.
More or less.
They're not very good shields.
It's smaller on the outside.
Yeah, it's a bit more exciting when you go the other way.
Yeah.
Battleship, medical insignia.
You did save Journey. For that, I'm personally grateful.
Well,
However, the security of this base is absolute. So we're still going to kill you.
oh, it's a roller coaster with you, isn't it?
Shoot him, bag him, and throw him outside.
No!
Wow. A molecular nanoscaler.
You know what it does then?
It miniaturizes living matter. What's the medical application, though? Do you use it to shrink the surgeon so they can climb inside the patients?
Exactly.
Fantastic idea for a movie. Terrible idea for a proctologist.
Fantastic voyage.
Doc, is your
And you've been miniaturized before. Well, hasn't he?
Maybe.
Didn't, Fourth Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I seem to remember that Tom Baker
Yeah.
and Leela went inside somebody
Yeah.
or something. I like the idea here because it's an analog clock, a throwback, which is again to me kind of a reference back to guys like Hartnell and I always forget the Seventh Doctor,
McCoy.
McCoy. Cole Hill.
Yeah, Clara's still a teacher.
So, Mr. Pink, did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I did, thanks.
Yeah, I bet you did. What did you get up to?
You know, a bit of reading.
Oh, I bet you were reading.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you were.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I was.
I
Eh.
know your type. She wishes. Be quiet, you.
I was a soldier. There were other soldiers, and some of them weren't on our side. I should leave the rest to your imagination. And please, think of another question.
Okay. Have you ever killed anyone who wasn't a soldier?
Just to repeat, that's all the questions on page 32, except the last one. And then everything on page 33, all that in for Thursday. Is everyone clear?
You're also being assigned the movie First Blood. Now stop asking questions.
Was it you that I saw outside doing the soldiery thing?
Ah, yeah, probably the Coal Hill Cadets. Just a bit of fun.
What, teaching them how to shoot people?
There's a bit more to modern soldiering than just shooting people. I like to think there's a moral dimension.
Ah, you shoot people and then you cry about it afterwards.
Oh,
Something wrong?
nothing. Sorry, no, nothing. I just...
Oh no, those jokes normally
I didn't
land
think
with the
I'd say
doctor.
anything, that's all.
Sorry. Are you going to the leaving thing tonight for Kathy?
Yeah. I wasn't going, but I am now because you're going to be there and suddenly it seems like the best idea ever. No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Good night.
Change your mind.
Excuse me?
I'm going. I'll give you a lift. Why not?
Actually, now that you mention it, seems like the best plan ever. Thank you.
Okay, he's also not used to talking to real people.
Is the wooden sound you or the desk?
How long have you been there?
Longer than you would like.
Okay.
Are you going to look that terrified when you take me out for a drink?
I absolutely promise I won't.
Play your cards right and you might.
Right. Task failed successfully.
Where the hell have you been?
You sent me for coffee.
3 weeks ago. In Glasgow.
2 weeks, that's a long time.
In Glasgow. That's dead in a ditch.
It's not my fault, I got distracted.
And what?
You can always find something. Come on.
We now return to Doctor Who.
Why were you smiling?
Was I? No, I wasn't.
You were smiling at nothing. I'd almost say you were in love, but to be honest,
Honest?
you're not a young woman anymore.
Yes, I am.
Well, you don't look it.
I do look it.
Well, that's right. Keep your spirits up. Clara, 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 Clara. My good man.
don't know.
Neither do I.
Hey, no offense, but I've got plans.
I need you.
All right.
No offense, this is a time machine.
Where are we going?
Into darkness.
Star Trek Into Darkness.
Eh.
Daleks must be destroyed.
Daleks must be What did you just say?
All Daleks must die. I will destroy the Daleks. Destroy the Daleks. Destroy the Daleks.
A good Dalek.
There's no such thing.
That's a bit inflexible. Not like you.
Eh.
Almost say prejudice.
Years of experience.
Do I pay you?
Millennium.
I
Eh.
should give you a raise.
This is gun girl. She's got a gun and she's a girl. This is the sort of boss one. Are you the same one as before?
Yes.
I think he's probably her uncle, but I made that up to pass the time while we're talking. This is Clara, not my assistant. She's some other word.
I'm his carer.
Yeah, my carer. She cares, so I don't have to.
Daleks must die. Daleks must die.
So, what do we do with a moral Dalek then?
We get into its head.
How do you get into a Dalek's head?
That wasn't a metaphor.
Use the nano controllers. You sure you understand?
Why wouldn't I?
Because this is a dangerous mission and you look like a school teacher.
I am a school teacher. So, it makes you smile, or is nobody up for the job?
My brother. But he burnt to death a couple of hours ago, so he's really letting me down today. Excuse me.
Eh.
What are those ones for?
Now remember, do not hold your breath when the nanoscaler engages. You'll feel like you want to, but you must keep breathing normally during the miniaturization process.
Why?
Ever microwave the lasagna without breaking the film on top?
It explodes.
Don't be lasagna.
Nanoscaler engaging.
They got it, thank you.
5.
Yeah.
In the movie Fantastic Voyage, that's how they take the novice through the tear duct.
Yeah. Oh. I thought it was just like glass at the front. It's actual eye fluid. You know, this kind of looks like an effect they would have used in the 70s.
Welcome to the most dangerous place in the universe.
Well, it's a good thing there are floors here.
Now what?
Eh. Yeah.
Daleks need protein. Occasionally they harvest from the victims. This is a feeding tube.
Eh.
Is Ross here?
Yeah. Top layer if you want to say a few words.
Ugh.
This is the weakest spot of the Daleks' internal security. Nobody can harvest the dead. Mortuaries and larders. Always the easiest to break out of war. I've lived a life. Tell them it's
Yeah.
stupid that we're in. Ah!
He has broken out of a morgue before.
Get us out of here. The difficult part is not killing him before he can.
Bolt hole. Actually, a hole for a bolt. There's nobody to get that.
Also, there's the buns.
Are you alright back there? It's a bit narrow, isn't it?
Any remarks about my hips will not be appreciated.
Ah, your hips are fine. You're built like a man.
Luckily, it's so hot in these tubes, we're all completely dried off of all the people fluid.
You wearing a Geiger? What did you see?
The birth of a star.
Stars born every day. You've seen a million stars born. So what?
Daleks have destroyed 1,000,000 stars.
Oh, millions and millions. Trust me, I keep count.
And yet new stars are born.
Every time.
Resistance is futile.
Rusty, we found the damage. I'm sealing up the breach. In your power cell. No more radiation poisoning. Good as new.
Oh, the Sonic can just do that?
But it's like it's waking up.
Dusty, come on, talk to me. What's going on?
The malfunction is corrected. All systems are functioning.
Ah. He's a Dalek again.
Charged.
Oh, no.
Exterminate. Exterminate.
You're so close.
It was a broken Dalek and we repaired it.
You were supposed to be helping us.
I gave it a shot. It didn't work out. It was a Dalek. What did you expect?
No more talking. You are done. Okay. New objective. We are taking this Dalek down.
Man, I'm not sure what they did expect.
What's that look for?
It's the look you get when I'm about to slap you.
I just got this face.
One question.
No time.
Why did we come here today? What was the point? You thought there was a good Dalek. What difference would one good Dalek make?
You know the difference in the universe, but it's impossible.
Is that a fact? Is that really what we've learned today?
Clara Oswald, did I really not pay you?
You couldn't afford me.
Whatever you're gonna do, don't do it. This Dalek must not be destroyed. We can do better.
Are you out of your mind?
No, I'm inside a Dalek. I'm standing where... We need to show the Dalek that star being born again. Recreate that moment. You need to get up there, find that moment, and reawaken it.
Me?
Yes, you. Good idea.
How?
Having the fogies, do a clever thing, and then once you've done it, the Dalek will be suggestible to new ideas. It will be open again, and I will show it something that will change its mind forever.
What?
Not a clue.
Making this up as I go.
Exterminate the humans. See, locate, destroy. Surrender is not accepted.
It's like Rogue One.
Is he mad or is he right?
Yes.
I've come this far. Probably gonna die anyway. Wouldn't mind something to do for the rest of my life. Is he mad or is he right?
Hand on my heart. Most days he's both.
Yeah, close enough.
One question then.
Hello. I'm Missy. Welcome to heaven. Would you like some tea?
We take everyone, not just robots.
Little spot. Lovely.
I'm back.
All those years ago, when I began, I was just running. I called myself the Doctor, but it was just a name. And then I went to Scarrow. And then I met you lot. And I understood who I was. The Doctor was not the Daleks.
I see divinity. I see hatred.
Hatred.
I see your hatred of the Daleks, and it is good.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Exterminate! Under attack from a Dalek!
Yeah.
The Daleks are exterminated!
Of course they are. That's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah. The task failed successfully. Yeah.
Victory would have been a good Dalek.
I am not a good Dalek. You are a good Dalek.
You'd make a good Dalek.
Well, bye.
Take me with you.
I think you're probably nice. Underneath it all, I think you're kind. You're definitely brave. I just wish you hadn't been a soldier.
How do I look?
Sort of short and roundish, but with a good personality, which is the main thing.
I meant my clothes are just changed. I don't know.
I'm sorry?
You asked me if you're a good man, and the answer is, I don't know. But I think you tried to be, and I think that's probably the point.
think you're probably an amazing teacher.
I think I better be.
Have you changed your clothes?
Yes. Yes, I have. I noticed.
Okay, good.
Yes, good. Very good. Good work. You've passed the test.
Are you really going to go for a drink with me?
Yeah. Of course I am. Why wouldn't I?
I just thought...
Thought what?
I thought you might have a rule against soldiers.
No. No, not at all. Not me.
Alrighty.
Interesting twist there. And of course and I mean, talk about the moral dilemma. He does have a hatred for the Daleks because they are nothing but hatred. You know, that's like the intolerability juxtaposition. You know, I can tolerate everything except intolerance. That basically reverses it, you know. and basically he says there's no such thing as a good Dalek. I hate the Daleks for what they are, which makes Rusty say, you would have been a good Dalek, just like the Dalek told the Ninth Doctor.
I mean, in a sense, it's an interesting thing getting to this episode, because the way he talks about it, you know, at first he just was the Doctor. It's just a name he picked. Old William Hartnell, he just thought, that sounds good. Let's go with that. I'm the Doctor. But it didn't really mean anything until he got to Skaro. And if you really think about it, ever since then, we have just been watching the Daleks infect him for years and years. About 2,000 years we've been watching him. And he just kind of keeps getting worse because of it. And, I mean, the biggest thing is obviously the Time War, you know, which even that sort of infects the Time Lords to an extent, you could say. So it's an interesting relationship he has with the Daleks. So, yeah, just it coming to a head with, you know, can there be a good Dalek? So, and at the same time, having the question of, is he a good man? You don't really know anymore. It's tricky, and, you know, this is sort of building off of the Day of the Doctor, where you see the War Doctor, and he basically his entire life, that incarnation, pretty much was not the Doctor until the end. Right at the end, he did the only right thing he could do, which was saving Gallifrey, and it allowed him to be the Doctor. But, you know, whether or not you think, well, is that a reversal on, you know, it was like, well, the Doctor wipe his hands clean. It's like, but he still said he did so much else during the Time War that it's just like, it's now just a question for the Doctor. And especially, too, you know, his last incarnation, the 11th Doctor, just spent 900 years in a war fighting fighting with the Silence against the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Sontarans, everybody who wanted to try to avert the Time Lords coming back. So,
to me, it all goes back to that genesis of the Daleks, though, because the Doctor says, I have the opportunity to stop the Daleks before the Daleks start, but do I have the right to do that? And he ultimately decides, I don't. He realizes what's going to happen, that the Daleks will be created, and that he knows what's going to happen after that. He will then fight them, but he doesn't have the right to genocide. He doesn't have a right to kill them before they... So, and I understand. I mean, yes, that's a complex question. It's you know, it's like he says, I don't hate anything. I try not to hate anything. But you're right, I do hate the Daleks for what they are. And it's sad to him that it is his hatred that makes Rusty do what he does. So, and again, you know, good man goes to war. We've talked about good men all this through this stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to say, not the greatest action. I mean, yes, there's a lot of Daleks blowing up and this, that, and the other thing. But this really is just a moral quandary episode.
Yeah.
You know, we have to figure out, at the root of this, is he a good man or is he not?
And it also harkens back to a couple other things. First is Eccleston's last episode, where he creates this thing that will kill all the Daleks, but it will kill all the humans on Earth as well, and him, as a matter of fact. And the Dalek Emperor is like, well, are you going to do it? Are you going to be a killer or a coward? And the Doctor just can't bring himself to do that. And that's kind of the first, even though it wasn't technically planned, that was sort of the first hints at what ultimately happens when the Doctor saves Gallifrey. So, but this also... the other one is the Dream Lord episode with the 11th Doctor, where he says, this thing basically got into the TARDIS and caused us all to have this, same hallucination, and it basically feeds on the darkness in your heart. And Amy and Rory say, well, how did that work? And it's like, well, yeah, Amy and Rory, they don't have any darkness. The Doctor picked them specifically. He says, I picked my friends very carefully. All of that twistedness in the Dream Lord all comes from the Doctor specifically. So, but that's just kind of what happens when he has lived as long as he has. And that's why, like in the last episode, they talk about the masks that he's put on. At this point, he is kind of mask off. Even though he, it's kind of the ship of Theseus. Is he still the Doctor anymore? Is he still that original person? What even was that original person? That's another thing, we'll be talking about. What is the Doctor? And I think it does... It's an interesting thing that the show almost gets bogged down in sometimes. And this happens almost in every era, is who is the Doctor? Because it's kind of a difficult thing of, is the Doctor the lonely god, as they say, or is he just a guy? A guy that happens to have a box and a screwdriver and an impeccable dress sense, and he's just going around the universe trying to have fun? Or is he some sort of savior, some hero, some god who comes in and saves the day? And the show sometimes gets bogged down on that, but I think they do generally take the latter approach of, he really is just a guy. As Clara says, even if he's not a good man technically, he tries to be, and that's the point. So
he's in the mold of the Batman, Superman, all the superheroes. He's a vigilante, in a sense, because he works outside the normal boundaries of law. But he does, at his core, have this idea that people shouldn't hurt each other, and he will do everything he can to prevent that. But he's also one of those people, kind of like in the Let's Kill Hitler episode, that says, at some point, where do you have to interrupt?
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing, and it's something that almost only can happen on Doctor Who, for being a show that's been on the air for over 60 years now, with the same main character, and the same spaceship. Technically, it's like, yes, we've changed out literally everyone. This is the show of Theseus too. We've changed out everyone, including the main actor, but it's still supposed to be the same guy. And it's like, well, how? And it's like no other show can really do that, to have these sort of character arcs that are still going, and even still, like, this is a really good example of building upon past episodes, but you also don't need those past episodes. Like, if you're still coming in pretty new, now, I don't think anyone really comes into the Capaldi era as a start, because it's a little difficult. It very much is keeping going with where we were with Matt Smith, and we had the Paternoster gang in the last episode, and then obviously Clara being a holdover and everything. But yeah, it's like if you started at Matt Smith, which is honestly a pretty good place to start. You started there, and now you're here. You can pretty much get everything that the Doctor is talking about, even if you haven't seen Eccleston's Dalek episodes or Genesis of the Daleks or anything like that. Like, it all still works even if you haven't seen. But if you have seen those other episodes, especially if you've seen the original Dalek episode and you understand what he talks about when, the first time he goes to Skaro, it's all the more rewarding. So,
yeah. Now, minor subplot, I think they're setting it up. You have two secondary characters, oddly enough named Blue and Pink.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought he was going to take her, but then he said, I would have, except that you're a soldier. And this other guy, who's setting up to be a possible companion, because Clara's interested in him, he's interested in Clara, but he's also a former soldier. So
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see where that goes.
This is an interesting arc this season, and we will talk about it more, but it is slightly controversial just because, and I mean, we've already gotten the first bits of it here, where the Doctor does not like soldiers. A lot of people say, well, that's completely hypocritical. One of his best friends is the Brigadier. You don't get much more soldier than Lethbridge Stewart, but I think it works for here.
Didn't the third Doctor reprimand Lethbridge Stewart for bombing the Silurians in that original episode?
Yes.
So, he likes him personally, but doesn't like the fact that he is a soldier and has to carry out military orders.
Yeah, he likes UNIT, but it's definitely, especially when you watch the Pertwee era, you can see he's trying to guide UNIT to be better, which now ultimately we see UNIT being better with Kate, that, as she says, the Brigadier always said, science leads. And it's like, he had to learn that the hard way of working with the Doctor for that many years. So, but the other thing, too, is at this point with the Doctor, he was just reminded of everything he did during the Time War. Even if he got it right in the end as the War Doctor, there's still so much that he did during the Time War. And then he basically was a soldier. Technically he was the Sheriff of Christmas for 900 years, but he had to fight every single last enemy he possibly could for 900 years straight until finally being able to regenerate. And yeah, it's a thing of like, I understand why a lot of people would be like, well, that doesn't make sense why he would hate soldiers and stuff, but I think it makes a lot of sense at this point for this particular, in the same way of him sort of losing his own identity, not understanding, not being able to figure out who is he anymore, who is the Doctor. So it's all for a very specific character arc, which honestly runs through Capaldi's entire run. So it's very interesting to see, especially because they've really just never done that. Like, you get some character development, like the Ninth Doctor kind of softens up as that season goes on and everything. The 10th Doctor kind of gets more cruel as his seasons go on and everything. And for the 11th Doctor, it's sort of the fairy tale ends. But this is, because Moffat has already done one Doctor's era, now he's doing another one equally as long. It's interesting to see how he very differently approaches this Doctor specifically. So, yeah, it's, and I would also say probably the best strength of this era is, it's something that you hear a lot about, but this really is like the best case of the show has kind of grown up with you now. Like, you had the fairy tales, you had all this other stuff, you had the 10th Doctor being the hero who saves the day, and if you watched all of that, that's great. Maybe you were younger. Yeah, even you were young at one point, all those years ago when you watched the first Doctor and everything, and you see that, but this is the first time the show has kind of grown up. Like, this isn't a, we're here, this is the first thing that you can watch for Doctor Who. It's like, no, we expect you to have watched something, and now here's a different take, a more, I don't want to say it's more mature, because there's a lot of maturity in past Doctor Who episodes, but this is like the only time where it feels like, yes, the show is now aging with you. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. It's definitely a very good episode, and it is kind of funny too that with Christopher Eccleston, his 6th episode was a Dalek episode, and then for David Tennant it was like the end of season 2 that the Daleks came back. But then with Matt Smith, that was the 3rd episode that he met the Daleks, with Churchill and everything. And now for Capaldi, it's the 2nd episode that he meets the Daleks. Like, they keep kind of bringing the Daleks forward a little bit. So I can go ahead and say that the Daleks do not appear in Jodie Whittaker's 1st episode. So I can also tell you that the Daleks just do not appear in the Shudigawa era at all. So it kind of ended a little too early, and yeah, he never got a Dalek or Cyberman or Master episode. We'll get there when we get there, but But yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing with this episode, and it's definitely better on rewatch, I would say. So I enjoyed it more and got more out of it this time around. So, you got anything else?
I have 2 footnotes. I read just this morning that for the first time since 1966, both Doctor Who and Star Trek are not in production at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
There are apparently none of the shows, the
Paramount
shows.
Yeah, because Paramount's getting new management, for better or for worse, mostly for worse generally. And so yeah, I think they pretty much canned everything that Star Trek was doing. Well, I think like Strange New Worlds was already coming to an end, so I think it's still got its final season to air, but they're already done with production. And then like Starfleet Academy, they were just like, yep, can it. I think it's technically they already had another season finished, so that'll also be airing. But yeah, there are currently no future plans for Star Trek, and there's no current plans for Doctor Who. Well, apart from, well, not on TV at least. So,
and the other thing, and I read this sometime within the last week, because I think you and I had mentioned at some point in the last 2 or 3 weeks of trying to find a new showrunner, and I can't remember how we got into this conversation, but apparently there's a group of Doctor Who fans who are proposing an American, the guy who created Babylon 5 or whatever, because he's familiar with science fiction, he's somewhat familiar with Doctor Who, and the big thing is, are we going to allow a very British production to be handed over to an American?
Yeah.
Although, what I also said is, although the BBC is not currently in any kind of talks to do Doctor Who, they have put it out on what they call on tender, and BBC Studios is possibly going to pick it up.
Yeah. I know that Russell T Davies specifically said it's been put out to tender to see if anyone wants to get it. A lot of people said, well, you say put out to tender, that sounds like put out in the back of the barn and shot it, so it doesn't sound great. But yeah, I know there's a lot of concerns about Doctor Who potentially leaving the UK, and I understand it because it is sort of it's a very cultural thing for them, especially because someone mentioned that it's like we're practically not getting British James Bond anymore. Like James Bond has been sold to Amazon, and they're getting the guy that did Dune to do it and stuff. And it's like, while they don't have an actor right now, but still, it's like Britain has kind of lost a lot of its big cultural entertainment, and so Doctor Who is kind of that last holdout. And it's like, I understand, but there was someone that said, it's like, you kind of worry though that almost creates like a fishbowl where it's just like, well, if you can only do it in the UK, it's just, are there enough people to get behind it, and to find enough writers for Doctor Who to go on forever? There should be, and hopefully maybe there would be. They can find a new person.
I thought it was interesting that in this article that I was reading, they were saying it's very hard for an actor to commit.
Yeah.
Because, normally you'd think you'd be going 2 or 3 seasons, but nothing is planned at the moment.
Yeah.
My thought is, and it goes all the way back to Hartnell, is this. Yes, a young actor might not want to do that, but again, we've been talking about, Hugh Grant. We've been talking about Michael Sheen, talking about some of these older actors who are in their 40s or 50s or even 60s, who could, at this point, legitimately say, there's not a huge amount of roles that I'm going to be doing in movies or on television, so I could commit to this.
Yeah, I mean, there's the other thing about that is, right now we kind of have, there are a lot of people that want, there will be another sort of version of the Doctor later on, played by an actor named Joe Martin, and a lot of people say, well, she's really good, she should be, they should just have it be, even if maybe, story-wise you gotta work it a little bit, but she should be the current Doctor. And a lot of people have said, and especially because that also gets brought up with Paul McGann, that it's like, well, why can't we just go back, just do a season with Paul McGann? But someone brings up that it's like, even if they enjoy doing Doctor Who, they enjoy coming in and doing all this, and Paul McGann has pretty much been doing it for 30 years, but it may also be that they don't want to be the face of Doctor Who, where it's like, you have to go. It's not just doing the show; it's doing everything that comes with the show, and even that could be a little too much. But maybe if you get, an older actor who's either not doing as much or is just more willing to do that, then maybe. I think the other idea is going the opposite direction and going for more of an unknown young actor. That's the thing with Shudigatwa. He wasn't exactly unknown. He was he was in that sex education show, which was very popular, and he had this big blossoming career that cannot be held back by a show, especially when you don't know when the next season's going to be made.
Yeah.
So it is very, very difficult, and I guess it's the same problem with finding a showrunner. But even then, I feel like the showrunner should be easier than finding the actor, because the actor, that makes sense, a lot of commitment. But finding a showrunner, that should be a bit easier, because you're going in and you're writing the stories, or you're creating the ideas and then passing them off to other people to do.
And I just thought of another one. Who is the guy who worked with Cumberbatch on the Sherlock series as Watson?
Oh, Martin Freeman.
Now, that would be an interesting Doctor, because he seems so milquetoast, but he's really a very solid character actor, and I think he could do a great job.
Yeah. The funny thing is, Matt Smith auditioned to be Watson in Sherlock, and they were just like, it's not working out because he would be too perfect for Sherlock. Like, that's basically what they found in the audition. Is like, well, you'd be really good as Sherlock, actually, but they had already pretty much found Benedict Cumberbatch by then.
Yeah.
So, but Moffat, it was around that time he was about to start working on Doctor Who as well. So he kind of just kept Matt Smith in the back of his head, and then thought, well, the Doctor is basically like Sherlock.
Yeah.
So that worked out there. So, but yeah, Martin Freeman could be good. Again, yeah, you're right that you could get an older actor with to do something like that. You mentioned Olivia Colman. Olivia Colman would be really great. So,
and I'm really going out into left field with this one. All right, so this guy is usually known for his work in motion capture, but what about Andy Serkis?
Yeah, because I mean, he does some live action stuff every so often.
He did a couple of Marvel things. Wasn't he Claw?
Yeah.
But again, great character actor, a guy who can do the funny and the serious, and even at his age, the action stuff, because he's so flexible. I mean, to us, it seems like they should be able to find somebody who can commit to doing, even if it's just 3 years or 2 years. I mean, the show's been going for 60 some odd years. It seems like it doesn't need to go into hiatus again. Don't need to go into wilderness.
Yeah.
Assemble your feces, get your act together, and get this on.
Yeah, it should be, but it's... I think... Well, the other thing right now, too, is where we left off on the very last episode of Doctor Who was, like, terrible. And so it's a thing of, like... So in the next episode, if, let's say we make the next episode, what do we do about that? What do we do about what happened at the end of last episode? It's like, I think the writers, we brought up James Bond, the writers of James Bond, they're making a new thing. They're having a bit of trouble because if you remember, at the end of No Time to Die, he died. Spoiler alert. In fact, it's not just that he died, he exploded because there was like a missile that destroyed that entire island he was on, and he died. And they're thinking, well, what do we do? Did he just get out of it or something like that? And every time I see that, I think, well, it's a new Bond, isn't it? It's a new continuity. Like, what do you mean? We don't need a new, like, when you watch Superman, the new Superman movie, did you think, well, this doesn't quite make sense? Because it's like, well, he's only been Superman for a little bit, but he killed Zod recently, and before that he was Christopher Reeve. It's like, well, no, it's a new continuity. We're used to that. So,
well, there's an old theory about James Bond, in that James Bond is the alias.
Yeah.
And that, like the Doctor, when Connery left and George Lazenby took over and then Roger Moore, it really wasn't the same guy. It basically, when you are given the license 007, you're also given the identity James Bond.
Yeah.
So that's why over all those years, M wasn't the same, although it was the same designation. Q wasn't the same. So all of these things can be explained in the same way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it could very easily just be something like that. It is a bit harder for Doctor Who, because it does have to be the same guy. I think the main thing, though, is, like, just do what they did 20 years ago. Just start, here's the Doctor, here's the new Doctor. That's it. That's all we need, just new Doctor. You don't need to really explain. You can go back at some point and explain sort of what happened, but just do what they did, in that first season. Just, here's the Doctor, here's a Dalek. That was really the only returning villain we see in that first season. Just do that, and it'll all be good. So, and then just write some good stories. It's not that hard.
Nope.
So, I actually, to slightly tie it back to this episode, I've had an idea for a Doctor Who story where it's sort of the same idea of like a good Dalek, but it's a Dalek. It's a strange thing of like, it's pretty much all the rest of the Daleks are gone. There's pretty much this last Dalek. And this Dalek has kind of seen the error of their ways. And basically, what it wants to do is go in and find all the oppressed, all the people that would be victims of the Daleks, or people like the Daleks, and save them and make them the new Daleks. Not necessarily putting them in the, the tin pot and everything, but just creating a new society where the oppressed and the downtrodden are saved, actually. And it's just kind of a conundrum for the Doctor, because it's like, well, that's like good. Should I do something about that? It is a Dalek. And then I thought maybe even a better sort of quandary for that would be if you first meet this Dalek, like in the Civil War, and it's trying to, like, this Dalek is trying to, like, save the slaves. And it's like, oh, well, I'll take the slaves, we'll go to a different place and they'll be free. They will be Daleks now. And the Doctor's kind of like, that kind of changes time. Or like, the Dalek basically tries to destroy any and all slave or just like completely wipe out the South or something. And it's like, and so the Doctor has this moral quandary of like, well, that's a really good thing. Save the slaves and everything like that. But time kind of has to still happen, and it just becomes this moral quandary for the Doctor. So that's something I thought of. I thought of like 13 different stories, and if I was any competent as a writer, I would try to write them out. So I might still try, but I don't know how good they'll be. So at the very least, I have ideas. So
call us.
Yeah, well, I at least have. I've got a season like ready to go of ideas. We can workshop it. We'll bring in other writers and we can figure it out. We'll run Doctor Who. It'll be fine. And then someone will call it woke on Twitter. So, yeah,
I got nothing else.
All right. Then, with all of that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our modern Doctor Who reactions, as well as another playlist with every Doctor Who reaction that's on the channel. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.